So great to be back on our track Visual Perfection. And the next topic is here 3,108 opt-ins in 7 days at 54 pence per lead while beating Facebook ad fatigue. And our presenter and speaker today is now Sarah Sal. She is in Brussels and she is a Facebook ads specialist at Hootsuite and at Espresso. With 7 figures in Facebook ads events under her belt in 10 years, she runs ads for companies like ClickFunnels and Startizer. When she started running ads for the latter, they started to make even 40 cents for each $1 spent on ads. And she moved them from $18 for each $1 spent and improved things. So let's get into this interesting topic and I'll let you have the stage. See you then.
Fantastic. Let me share my screen and let me select the correct screen. So I would have a mix between slide and ad example. I want to be as practical as possible. In this presentation, I'm going to use a client I run ad for from 2015 till 2020 and 054. It was international market, but what matters is not 0.54 or 50 per lead as long as it's profitable, and every niche is different. So ad fatigue is like drinking cappuccino. You take a sip and you have a mustache. You take a second sip, you have a smaller mustache, and at some point the foam disappear. So the question become how do you keep creating foam? If you think about it, Facebook ad is interruption marketing. People are busy, they're talking with their friends, they're reading a book. If you interrupt them, make it worth their while. Don't shout in their face, buy my stuff right now or you're a loser. Educate them. To highlight, yes, I'm using a lot of cat pictures. Imagine a sitcom like Big Bang Theory. They air on Thursday, they have 2 million view. They maybe air on Sunday, they have another 1.5 million view. Maybe they translate it to Japanese, Spanish, German, French, and they get an extra 2 million view. But if every week it's episode one, you would stop watching. It's the fact that there is episode 1, episode 2, season 1, season 2, season 3 that you are watching it. And now I'm going to show you an example. So I wrote a blog post on long ad copy and storytelling, and my screen is blank for some reason. Hopefully it's loud, and it doesn't take 10 minutes to load. Let me try to load it in a new tab. Oh my god. Oh, fantastic. Now it's loading on a new tab. So we would run ad for, oh, come on, Chrome. Okay, no, fantastic, no. Okay, I thought it went back to white. So we would run ad for Spanish learning courses. And the ad say, if you are drunk, are you going to speak Spanish more fluently? The answer is yes, according to Dutch and British researchers, but it's confidence. Your vocabulary, your grammar is not better, and you better improve your vocabulary if you want to speak better language. To do so, we have an ebook. Download the ebook, and this will do really well. We get lead for under £1 for something like 6 weeks, and then it go from £1 to £4 out of the blue. So what we do, we pause this ad, and we replace it with this one, for example. This is actually a real story. There was a parrot that used to speak English with a British accent, got lost, came back speaking Spanish. And we say, well, you know what? Learning a language is listening. What are the words and sentences people use at a high frequency around you and just repeating them? By the way, we have such an ebook with such sentences and verb people use at a high frequency. And now we're getting leads again for under £1 British. Think about Facebook ad like real estate in the center of London, Paris, Frankfurt, and so on is getting more and more and more and more expensive. And now, if you want to live in the center, you need to have 20 roommates. When Facebook, there was a point where Facebook had like 1 million advertiser, and then you see it shoot through the roof. They have 9 million advertiser in 2020, and then of course there's iOS 14, etc. So if you think about your ad as a shop in a central location where just selling coffee alone is not enough, you need to do a better job where instead of selling things for $2, you sell them things for $10. But also you're better at converting people who walk in front of your store. If you convert 1 out of 20 people walking in front of the store, and you improve your store, you improve the coffee smell, you improve the display, and now you have 1 out of 7 people that walk through your store buying something, suddenly you could still afford the higher rent. And it's the same thing on Facebook. So yeah, this is the blog post I wrote. I recommend you read it and make yourself a good cup of coffee. Just Google my name, Sarah Sal, forget the image long Facebook ad copy work. And then the question, but you were told that no one read long Facebook ad copy, that it should be extremely short. Let me show you an example. So this ad got 800 share, 1,300 comment, 4,000 likes, and the comments are related to the topic. It's like people are speaking about learning Spanish, their struggle, etc. And even some people, they say, "Oh, I'm a Spanish teacher," da 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 da, and it gets 44 reply. Some of them 9 reply. Here 40 reply. I think one of them got like 60 replies. Oh, here 66 reply, and people were discussing it between themselves back and forth. Even when we post the ad, people were still for a few weeks because people were saying something, tagging each other. So you see here, she tagged the person above her. That's when you have quality storytelling do. So let me give you a few. It's not about long versus short. I'm just saying long copy can work, but don't make it boring. And if you're interrupting people, provide them value. Okay. So I'm going to give you a few ideas how to write the ad. And writing an ad is 90% listening, 90% reading, 10% writing. So here is an example. You could talk about misconception. In this article, I have like 10 different tactics about how to write ad, even if you're bad at writing. One is talking about misconception. A misconception is that kids learn a language faster. No, kids are more persistent, they are more patient. The kid wants something, they don't get it, they're going to cry for 1 hour while repeating themselves while practicing the language. Now imagine you go into Spain, you go to Starbucks, you want to order a coffee, they don't understand you in Spanish. What do? You switch to English. You don't cry on the floor till they understand you, but that means you're not practicing the language. It's persistent. Why kids learn a language faster? The other thing, what makes you unique? And I'll try to slow down speaking because I'm like, I already made 9 slides and I'm already like 10 minutes in only. Imagine somebody passive aggressive who say, why should I buy from you? You have 500 competitor. What's unique about you? Why should I even pay attention to? Now you're getting defensive and you say, this is why. Here I'm using an example of a website copy, but it's the same thing for ad copy. So what they say is most ice cream. I mean, if you just freeze some juice, you get like ice cube. You don't get ice cream. So you need to add air. Most cheap commercial ice cream add 110% air. The other one between 80 and 60%, them only 30%, which make their ice cream more creamy, more dense, and more rich. So when somebody say, why should I buy from you? Because my ice cream is more rich, because my ice cream is vegan and the other one are not, because we use cane sugar and the other one use corn syrup, which is really bad for you. So you need to say the why. The other thing is answering question people are asking. What is a question your target audience, your customer, your lead, ask you nonstop, day in, day out. Let me find it here, because for this one, oh, here we go. So somebody asked Oli, who's, I think he speaks like 6 languages, something like that. I need to remember that. And somebody asked him, should I learn words individually or whole sentences when learning Spanish? And he said, no. You learn whole sentences because you learn the grammar, the context, and the structure of the language when you do this. And this way you're thinking like a native speaker. So just answer that question, right? Let's say you're tired of repeating yourself, write an answer, and you could say, hey, go read this copy. That's your ad. Oh, looking at the comment section. So in one of our ad, we said something, I don't remember. It was maybe the parrot. It was this one, the parrot that learned Spanish. And somebody said, no, actually, my bad. It was the one about getting drunk. And somebody said, if I learn Spanish, you know what? Just sleeping with Spanish women is more effective. Of course, I'm not going to write an ad about that because I don't want the ad to be disapproved by Facebook. But came the idea of an ad. Is really dating a native speaker helping you speak better the language? I Googled the topic and it looked like in some cases it can help, but often what happened is the person will be, hey, darling, can you please call the insurance company? My Spanish is bad. You start relying on your partner to do the translation, which means you're less likely to practice the language, and it means dating sometimes a native speaker in some cases can make you a less good speaker. And again, you look at the comment, there are even people who are telling the story how somebody said they fallen in love. She didn't speak one word of English. He didn't speak one word of Spanish. But somehow, I don't know, they fallen in love and they learned each other language. So people are reading them if you make it worth reading. I mean, think about it. People will still read Harry Potter and it's this big, but it's because it's interesting and entertaining that they still read it. Okay, analogies. This fruit here, it's what we call pomelo. Anyone who lived in Asia know them, but maybe if you've never seen them, you never tried them, you're like, how does it taste? And you use analogy to explain that, and you could say, it tastes like grapefruit, but it's not bitter, it's sweet. So here is an example from sprinting. You can run at your maximum speed for only maximum 350 meters, and then the lactic acid accumulating in your muscle make it impossible to continue running at that maximum speed. But you could run a marathon for 42 kilometers. And we say the moral of the story, if you want to learn a language, you're not going to, at first, like, I'm motivated, I'm going to learn it for 3 hours per day. And then you need to submit the taxes, the kids are sick, you need to travel, you need God know what. And then you fall out of habit and you lose motivation. But 5 minutes, everyone can find 5 minutes per day. And chances 2 years later, you're still committing to the 5 minutes per day. And before you know it, it creates a snowball effect. So analogy can help understand something that is complex in an easier way. Just for the sake of putting a cat image, nothing to do with Facebook ad here. Here is a blog post I wrote for a company called Strategizer. I wouldn't go through the whole blog post, but actually, let me just put it in the chat really quickly. So you could click on it, and the chat is taking forever to. Oh, here we go. Oh, can I make all the slide over the screen? Let me try that. Okay, yeah, I see why. Now let me reshare my screen. Select the window. Okay, when I share my slide, I'll try to have them on full view, full view. Sorry about that. So Strategizer is, I mean, they wrote a business book about business model, got millions of sales translated in multiple languages, but their ad was not working. The problem with most ads, people say, hey, this is a conference about business model. See you there. I'm selling an Apple, buy my Apple. I'm selling a microphone, buy the microphone. And without creating the desire. So this ad, they spent 4,433, got one sales for a conference that cost $2,000. So they're making 40 cents for each $1 they spend. Here, when I reworked on their ad, you see they spent 11,000, got 92 sales for 123 sale. Not bad for a conference at 2,000. I basically used something from supermarket. They found if they scream at you to buy the chocolate cake, you're not going to buy it. But if they give you a slice and you eat it, you're like, oh my God, that's delicious. You become more likely to do it. And this is my ad. 100 oil company went bankrupt, 2016. The exception was Dong Energy, because they invested in alternative energy when oil prices was high. Want to know how people do it? Come to our conference. Now, let me put on view slideshow. So yeah, you see a better resolution. Another example is this one. I put here the URL. It's a Shark Tank company. Facebook became more expensive. They stopped being profitable on Facebook ad. The company was still profitable, but from Facebook ads. And when I had a meeting with the founder, basically she told me, Sarah, I think the problem is finding the audience. I'm like, how many people have back pain? She said, in the US, if you're over 40, 33%. So I said, maybe your problem is not the audience, is you're not persuasive enough. And this is, again, you have back pain. I have a product for back pain. Here, I told a story of a single, imagine you're reading the diary of one of their user. What does their life look like by using your product? This is a single mother working 12 hours per day. Once she was on disability, she only get paid 60% of her salary. She could barely survive. And then the mother has seen this Shark Tank show, which made day and night difference for her. Now, next slide. Imagine, this is the problem with testimonials. Okay, this you get is a joke that the cat was not eating 0.99 food. The news, my lead gen and eating caviar and lobster and his royal food look better. It's just to say testimonial. If I just said, oh, I got good results from using that product, you have zero reason to believe me. People will not believe a stranger. And I did run, let me find that example. Oh, Dennis is somebody who ran ad for Rosetta Stone, Nike, Adidas, and he read my Strategizer case study and he said, oh, I have a conference where I teach people how to be at Facebook ad. It costs $7,000. Can you help me write ad? I said, who can I interview that happened to have worked for you? And he said, go talk to Gavin. I'm talking to Gavin. Gavin said, Dennis, you're a nice guy. I said, I don't care. People don't know you. Why they should believe your word? I said, what is something you were doing? And then after working with Dennis, you started doing it differently. And what was the outcome? He said, oh, I never published article on authority website. He helped me get an article published on Social Media Examiner. And as a result, my hourly rate increased from $50 to $179. You could read this ad, not want to click, and you still got an idea or two you could apply to your business. But because of that, you gain people trust. And this is really important because the internet is a low trust environment. This is actually a screenshot I took from Fiverr, and the person say for $20, I would record a professional video testimonial. That's the internet. By saying how people achieved a certain result or why they achieved it by using your product, you become more believable. Another example, there is a TV show that made an investigation, and they found this woman. She would one day say, hi, I'm a doctor, and this rectal thermometer is amazing. I love it. And then the next day say, hi, I'm a lawyer. And then the third time say, hi, I'm a university teacher. And they even paid her to pretend she's the director of a school that doesn't exist, that comes from a comedy movie. And yeah, this is just to say why trust is low on the internet. If your whole testimonial that you have as an ad, oh my God, I got amazing result. Yeah, let me switch to here because I have an example. Because if you want ad to do really well, you would want your ad not to look like an ad. And I'm just trying to find the example. Here we go. So this is an ad I wrote to promote my blog post about the Copy Hacker article. And it tells the story about, it's a real story about a company in the UK called Mr. Stimson. And when normally company, if they know somebody have been to prison or jail, they're like, we don't want to hire you. You're a criminal. We don't trust you. You're going to steal us. And Mr. Thompson does the opposite. He go to jail, interview people, hire them. And because he giving an opportunity to people who no one else want to give them an opportunity, he had some of his best and most loyal employee that way. Then I say, oh, you know what? Mr. Timpson decided to do the opposite of what everybody does in the industry. I did the same. There was an article in Newsweek about the niche I'm promoting, which is the story about the parrot that learned to speak Spanish. And I turned it into an ad, and it got so much comment, including 10, 20 nested comment, and it got this result. Want to know how I did it? Read my ad. And if we read the comment section, somebody said here, I read the entire ad copy and article before I even saw that it was an ad. Based on this, I'd say that's pretty much proof that the long ad copy work. Ha ha. And if you look at the comment, they are positive. I mean, it's not the people most comment. I mean, I don't want comment for the sake of comment. You want conversion, you want sales, you want leads, but comment tell you what people who see your ad are thinking. And I know a lot of entrepreneur advertisers would delete the comment because they're negative. And maybe people say, oh, it's spam, it's scam, fuck off from my newsfeed. I don't believe you. But by providing content, instead people debate the content, even if they don't agree with the content. So if we go to the case about kids not learning a language, some people really are disagreeing with us and say, some say, I fully agree. Other people say yes, acquisition of a first language is not the same as the two. And people are saying, you know what, not true. I couldn't learn the language and my kid learned it much faster than me, so I don't agree with your content. But they're not saying us, we are scammer or we're selling steak, or they're debating the content. And why is important to have an ad that doesn't look like an ad? Because roughly 30% of all internet users are using ad blockers. I mean, they hate ads. So even if your ad is not blocked, they go on Facebook, they see an ad, like, that's an ad, I don't want it, and then continue scrolling. So by having an ad that provides value, you're more likely to convert them. And I think that's my last slide. Feel free to go over my website, read the case study. If you ever use something I taught you today and you got good result, feel free to connect on LinkedIn. Let me know how it went from you, or if you have more questions. I'm always happy to have case study about something I taught helping people. If you go to my website here and you click on LinkedIn, yeah, feel free to send me friend request. And yeah, this is my presentation. I think I finished 10 minutes early, no, 4 minutes earlier, and I'm ready for Q&A.
Great. So I suppose people now will start adding the questions so that we can go through them. see. Well, it was quite interesting now what we've heard. So in that, it's all about actually getting the ads to be, let's say, less obvious that the ad. I noticed well from one of a few examples that the Facebook page obviously was using a person's face and a person name instead of like using, for instance, company XYZ and a logo of the company or so, which is actually something that I've seen as well in the last few years, suddenly moving around where people stop doing ads with company names and logos or pictures of a company, but actually using a name and being more personal. Because of course you can't run an ad with your own personal account. You have to create a fan page and then make that look like your personal page. Yeah.
Correct. But I even say people buy from people. I mean, people will use stock photo or photo designed by a photographer. If you're using a stock photo, you think 20 of your competitors are not also using stock photo?
Exactly.
And it's also for case of branding, because if people see your image over and over and over again, you become familiar to them. And if you're the expert teaching people how to run ad or how to speak Spanish, show your face. I mean, you might as well do it. It's more human.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the thing. It makes it easier to recognize, and everybody knows. Oh, this person had posted last week something, and I read the article. He doesn't actually think that it's an ad, but he read it. It didn't really immediately spot it because he doesn't see a company name, doesn't see a logo or something, and just doesn't register actively that it is an ad. The same thing is like in Twitter and other places where you go scroll down, and sometimes there are things where you think, wait a minute, is this an ad? Wait a minute, go up again. Oh, it's an ad. I didn't notice it actually. Yeah, and it's a clever thing that just lets us consume without being prejudiced about and thinking, an ad, I don't want it, away with it, or report it, or that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So, anybody have any questions at the moment? I see there are lots of comments in the public section. If you've got any questions, please post in the Q&A section so that we can go and answer them for you. We've still got
ask us about the
20 minutes.
weather. You could,
Yeah.
I mean, you could ask us about the weather or favorite drink or food, but ask us a question.
Exactly, because for instance, you showed before the example with Adespresso and these other tools. When you think of it, you can not only get a lot of data and insights, but you can do your planning much better and more focused on that. And and especially the A/B and testing, when you're trying to find out the right copy text and that, I suppose you use different versions until you find what really seems natural. Doesn't mean automatically that what we think is natural, the audience will take it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't believe in saying the same thing differently. Let's say I say buy the chocolate cake, and then I say buy this delicious chocolate cake. If you don't want a chocolate cake, you don't want it. So I believe by giving people different reason to buy. I mean, somebody go to the doctor because they have a headache. Other people go to the doctor because they want to look younger, and so on, or because they have a flu. You want to have ads that are very different from one another, and not just say the same thing, but with an exclamation point, with another exclamation point.
Yeah, and this way as well, you then get different things that you have to that you can see in that. We've got our first question. Great.
Fantastic.
So, is there a difference between types of pictures? Do different kinds have different effects? How is video regarding ROI?
It's a question of testing. I mean, yes, some product are visual. If I sell a holiday or a food or a fashion, then yes, some photo make the product looks better. Regarding video ROI, it's not about, you cannot generalize and say video is better than image, because I could say caramel sauce or ketchup, which one is better. You're not going to put caramel in your in your hot dog, and you're not going to put ketchup or mustard in your morning cereal. It depends. And there are people who are great on video, who would make a video, appear on the camera, and you're like, oh my God, that's amazing. I want that product. And there are people, if they are on the video, you'd fall asleep. So don't make a video for the sake of video. Do it if you're good with video and the video communicate a message. Video is just a medium, but you cannot say video, the ROI is 50% better in the absolute.
Yeah, and the same thing even applies what kind of pictures inside. I did once ads where they tested over the UK, for instance, with ads with photos of celebrities. In some areas, the celebrity pictures were more positively taken and returned more return and less negativity or anything. In Birmingham was a different celebrity more liked than in London or in Manchester. It's totally different. You can't just say England is this and Scotland is that. Even micro reducing to actually regions, you notice that there are different fancies. Like maybe more people will like in Scotland, maybe more Sean Connery. Other people will be looking more to Roger Moore, and other places they're looking for Sylvester Stallone. It's just difficult to say where people see, but I think whatever we have in the pictures, people will notice the different kind of reactions, either negative things, likes, shares, and even people will maybe buy more with certain things. Even different color backgrounds will create a different. But the thing is, of course, as my experience, I think, is that depending on the kind of audience, the niche, and so on, you'll have a different.
Let me tell a story. I had a tax lawyer, and he nearly got his account banned. And he had an image that said, "Pay less taxes if you're rich," and it was not working. And he tried like 50 images, and even he said, "Oh man, people love to look at cleavages." I'm like, I'm not surprised your ad nearly got your account nearly got banned. And what worked? I mean, let's say I'm not convinced. I don't believe you're a good tax lawyer. If you put me a pink background instead of a green one, or cleavage instead of a cat picture, I don't care. And what was matter is I give an example how he saved people money, and it was very simple. One tactic was, if it's December, people you need to pay in January, pay them in December instead of January. People who need to pay you in December, ask them to pay you in January instead. So by delaying everything for 1 month, you could really reduce your taxes legally. And when people were reading that, they're like, "Oh, okay, that person really understands what he's doing. Maybe I would join his webinar." It wasn't the image.
Yeah, exactly. So it wasn't in the copy. The real,
exactly.
Yeah, that suddenly make click and think, oh, he really knows it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. Sometimes it's more the text that's important than the picture. The picture maybe just catches our attention, but then we start reading and then think, this is garbage. We just move on.
Exactly.
Yeah. Or people start reporting, which is, of course, the worst thing you can have in Facebook nowadays. It kills you. Yeah, exactly. Because I think as well, depending on the region, you have different kind of as well costs per click and so on. Like we did once ads in Nigeria that was crazy cheap. It was like 20 cents or so per lead, which was really cheap. And nowadays, I don't know, what's the average cost per lead nowadays that you see in Facebook?
It really depends on your industry. I mean, if you're selling real estate investment, you might pay $50 per lead. If you're selling an ebook for $1, maybe you're paying 20 cents. But the real estate lead, you're selling a house for 20 million is profitable, and the other one is not. So I tell people, forget what's an average cost. For your own business goal, are you making more money than you're spending? That's the only thing. And are you close enough? Can you make money? That's really the only thing that matters when advertising.
Yeah. Great. So we've got still 11 minutes left.
Okay.
Let's see if there are any more questions. So let's see. So just to whilst we're waiting for the next question to come in, just to reflect again on some other topics or mentions. You said the internet is a low trust environment. When you look at all the things, anyone can write a written testimonial, and like with your example, everyone who even makes a certain kind of effort can even create multiple testimonial videos with the same person with a different kind of fake background, doctor, lawyer at the same time, and so on. There's a limit of things that you can study at the same time in your lifetime, but Some people maybe manage to have maybe 20 degrees
Yeah.
and do 20 jobs at the same time in different countries.
Yeah, I often joke on my Facebook personal profile. I put a picture of a cat with money,
Yeah.
and I'm like, Sarah tells me how to make money. I used to eat from the garbage yesterday. Today I have a Ferrari. I mean, okay, if I put a human, people don't know if it's true or not, but people like, oh, it's a scam, oh God, I'm sick of it. But if you put a cat, I'm really making fun of everyone who believe if you put a testimonial, people are going to believe you.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's the truth. People just want to see something written and then they believe it. Or to a certain degree, if they're hyped, they will believe really any silly thing and won't even think about it, whether it's really right or not, or whether it is
No.
obviously overstretched, the
Mm,
truth.
yeah. Now imagine I help coffee shops make more money. As you've said, I
Mhm.
help them make 10,000 more. I said on average, people only bought a cup of coffee, and I help them sell food that people could take in a box and eat in the office that is healthy. And
Mhm.
now 20% of people having coffee, now they're spending an extra $10.
Mhm.
And this equal to $10,000 per month. That's
Mhm.
believable
Yeah.
because there is the process. I said the how to. It's believable that if you sell a lunchbox on the top of the coffee for an extra $10, that you're going to be more profitable.
Mhm. Yeah, makes sense. Exactly. So you're showing them the why and where the whole thing is going, and you can really see, okay, it's not just somebody showing off his Ferrari and his gold watch and so on, but actually showing
Exactly.
how you got there step by step by step, and then you notice, hey, wait a minute, this is really a process. This really works. Otherwise, it's not like most of people, like on some people on YouTube and so on, they make it a seem, especially for the young kids. They think, oh, this influencer's got like 600 million followers and so on, and yeah, it's so easy. He goes and then he gets all his cars and phones he can paint and do all this crazy stuff, and the kids want to do it as well. But they think, oh, just pump something out and it'll happen. But they'll notice, hey, you have so much work to do. You have to plan. You have to. They don't see it.
Yeah.
That's why when we go in, to watch, for instance, visit some cinema studios and so on, we see the green screen equipment, the actors, and all the people that are behind it. Like, for instance, we did once a recording for a television program, the science program, a whole day recording, and then afterwards all the work for just 15 minutes of broadcasting. And our part was literally 5 minutes inside it. But people don't see that. They think, it's easy. Any nerd can, or any silly person can read off a teleprompter.
Yeah.
There's so many things that go wrong, and that's the
Yeah.
thing. People don't see that. And with ads, I suppose it's the same thing. You have to build a strategy and be consistent.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think since there are no more questions, I think we can let everybody go and
Yeah.
get a quick coffee
Okay.
before we go into the next session. So I'll be ending the session now, and it was great having you
Thank
here,
you.
Sarah. And I'd like to thank as well everybody who's been listening, making notes, I hope, and using things, because I've made as well my own notes, lots of interesting information, and I'm sure we'll be looking forward to the next sessions.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.